Well, g'day curd nerds. Got a comment the other day from one of my viewers asking me what I did with all my cheese. Well, normally I give it away to family and friends. I haven't done that much lately. I've kind of been like a cheese hoarder. So I looked in the fridge after Kim gave me a bit of a nudge and said, well, why don't you do a video on all the stuff that's in the fridge? And I went, okay, how much have I actually got in there? So turns out that I've actually got quite a bit of my own cheese in the normal kitchen fridge. This is stuff that's matured. I've kept vacuum packed, stored for long storage or for the long term, and it's perfectly okay. And you'll be surprised by some of the dates, maybe if I've actually even written some of the dates on them. I've also got, and excuse me for not showing all of my own cheese, but I've also got some commercial cheeses that are in the fridge as well, and I'll tell you about them and why they're there as well. Obviously I can't be a home cheese purist. I've got to try new things all the time. But anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so first cheese off the bat, what do we got? We've got something that hasn't even been shown yet on the channel, and this is blue Gouda. So I've got a slab of blue Gouda here. I think I've got some more somewhere else. There we go, another half. So 1.25 blue Goudas. So they're in for the long haul. Beautiful cheese. Wait till you see the taste test. Let's put those over here. I've also got some raclette that you may have remembered from the raclette party that we had about, I think it was June or July, out on our deck area, and we had a little party clette tool that you melted your cheese on, so that was really good. So I've still got half a raclette ready to go. Beautiful in toasted sandwiches and grilled cheese sandwiches and that sort of thing. I've got some Leerdama. I think I've got another piece somewhere. Surely I haven't eaten it all. Where are you, you beautiful thing? There it is. So I got 1.25 Leerdamas. This is a beautiful Dutch cheese with good eye development, and you would have seen the taste test video on that not so long ago. So 1.5 Leerdamas. Okay, what else have we got here? All right, we've got 3/4 of a drunken goat cheese. Oh no, this is drunken cheese, so this is made with cow's milk. So drunken cheese, you can see that it's red from the wine, but this tastes absolutely fantastic, very creamy, a little bit like feta, I found it anyway. And this was absolutely delicious, so we've still got some of that. What have we got down the front here? Down the front, this is just like cheeses under the Christmas tree, isn't it? So this is Tom. So I've got a Tom that I made, nondescript. No date, but I know it was from earlier on in the year, and that looks lovely. So we'll be eating some of that soonish. We've also got some, and this is very old, provolone piccanti, I think. Oh, there we go, 1.25. So that's going to be used on pasta dishes throughout the next year. Very long storage, tastes fantastic. It's got a fantastic piquant flavour, as the name suggests, provolone piquant. So pop that over there. What else we got? Oh, this one's very old. I've got some Same-on-Sel, which is a blue cheese. You can still just see some of the blue veins in there. There's a little bit of seepage in the bag, but it'll scrub up okay. I've kept it for a blue cheese sauce for next time I have a steak. Obviously I won't use all of the cheese, but I will be using some of it. So Same-on-Sel. What have we got here? Oh, in this nondescript piece of cling wrap, I've got a very hard cheese. This is the Pecorino ricotta salata that I made from sheep's milk, using just the leftover whey of sheep's milk cheese that I made, which was, it'll be here in a minute somewhere, because I know I've still got some left. So yes, pecorino ricotta salata. Very delicious on pasta. It's just amazing. Anyway, I'll pop that up there. I've got a bit of, right, where is it? What have I got here? I have some Cheshire. So I've got some Cheshire cheese here. This was an English cheese. It tastes absolutely fantastic as well. I know it's going to be very difficult for me to link all of the links to all of the videos that I made to create those, but what I'll do down in the description below, I'll put a whole list of all the cheeses and then I'll put the video link as well. But anyway, this one's Cheshire, absolutely delightful, bit like cheddar, but a little bit more crumblier and harder. So there you go, Cheshire's used to over there. Oh, here's a blast from the past. This one's over, well, nearly 2 years old. There's a bit of Piora, which is an Italian Alpine cheese, similar to, say, Gruyere. This one, if I remember rightly, tasted a little bit like Vegemite, of all things. So it does taste very nice. I've got a little piece left. I don't know what I'm saving it for, but it's still okay to eat. There you go, mount my cheese. Oh, last but not least, one of the hottest cheeses that I made, and it's only recently, so this is like September 2018, and that's the triple pepper jack. So I've got some triple pepper jack here. You can just see all the chili peppers through it still, and the chipotle rub, and oh, it was just amazing. Blew my mind. Still a lot of it left. Well, I've got a whole quarter of it, and it is just amazing and very, very hot. So the triple pepper jack. And then, oh no, I've got two different cheeses. Righto, here we go. So we've got a bit of Parmesan left. So that was aged for over a year. So a nice piece of Parmesan there. That'll keep for a long, long time. And we'll just use it for grating or slicing, because it's fairly moist still, which is fantastic. It's not really extra crumbly like traditional Parmesan, but I'll still call it Parmesan because I can. Last but not least of all the pieces that I've got left, a little bit of Pecorino Romano, and that was cracked open November. It was made in November 2017. So a nice piece of Pecorino Romano there, made with sheep's milk, absolutely delightful. And there we go, we'll add it to the mountain. So that's all my cheeses that I've still got and it was in the kitchen fridge, all in the kitchen fridge, all at 4 degrees Celsius. Very rarely do you get any additional aging or development of the cheese at that very low temperature. So normally they're aged around about 13 degrees Celsius or 55 Fahrenheit. So they'll be okay. I'll put them back in there again, find a better place for them to live and all that. So what else have we got? We've got some commercial cheeses here that I like to buy occasionally, mainly to kind of figure out the next sort of recipe. So we'll just go through them and whether I've tried them before or not. First one is a lovely little cheese from Meredith Dairy, and this is their Cherv, which is a fresh goat cheese dusted with ash, and it's like a cream cheese, if you will, and it's only down the road. So from us, it's about 120 kilometres away from where we live. So lovely little goat dairy, Meredith Dairy. So I've got a ash-covered goat's cheese. I've also got a, not sure, a bit of a nondescript. This one's made in Australia as well. This is called Mondara cream cheese with cranberries and macadamia. It's just a soft cheese. We like to put a few soft cheeses on our cheese platters. That kind of, because I make mostly hard cheeses, as you can see here. This kind of lightens the mood, I suppose, of the cheese platter. So I've got a nice cream cheese there with fruit. Speaking of fruit, here's another one. This is a white Stilton with mango and ginger. It says it's made in the UK, but it doesn't say who it's made by. But it's a white Stilton. So basically it's made in the traditional Stilton recipe, but they just don't put any Penicillium roqueforti in it. And often it's paired with fruit. So this one's been manufactured after the fact. They obviously ground the cheese up and then put the fruit into it afterwards, because you can tell they haven't cut a slab because there's no ripping or tearing or anything like that. So that's how they put the fruit into it. I've also got a Red Leicester, or vintage Red Leicester. This is been matured for 15 months, so it says. Also made in the UK, but doesn't say which dairy actually made it, because the local supermarket here seems to want to rebadge all the cheese into their own brand. But yeah, made in the UK, Red Leicester. I've never got my Red Leicester that dark red colour, but yeah, looks pretty good. Another local producer, which is just down the road from us, and this is a Gindi Triple Cream Brie. I really can't make enough of these cheeses myself, but this was made on the other side of Melbourne in a factory in a town called Jindivick. That's why it's called Gindi cheese. And very delightful little cheese, really does taste nice in the triple cream style, and absolutely delicious. Next, this is a cheese I got because I wanted to try true Roquefort. You know, you can make cow's milk versions of blue cheese, but it's never going to be like the real thing. So this is a piece of authentic AOP Roquefort, and this is made in France, of course. What dairy does it say it was made by? No, doesn't even say what dairy. Let's have a look. Just says Roquefort Society. Doesn't even say. Matured in our natural caves. There you go. So apparently authentic Roquefort. So I'm going to try some of that. And next time I get some sheep's milk, unpasteurised sheep's milk, I'm going to try and make some Roquefort as well. Another blue. This one's a Danish version. This is a traditional Danish blue mold. It's called Castello. That's the company that made it. It's made in Denmark. It's fairly mouldy. It's more on the creamy side. A little bit similar to what a Stilton is. Stilton's a bit stronger, obviously. But this one is made from pasteurised milk, and it's got blue veins all the way through it. Creamy, a little bit sharp, quite nice. So Castello Blue. What else have we got here? We've got a cheese from New South Wales. They're called the Riverina Dairy. It says they're family owned, but I'm not sure. So this is a chili halloumi. So what they've done is they've made traditional halloumi, and then they put chili flakes all around it and then vacuum packed it. It's best grilled just like a traditional halloumi in a frying pan or on a barbecue, that sort of thing. So very yummy. I'm trying it because I want to have a go at something like this. I did recently have a basil infused halloumi, and that tasted quite nice, even though the halloumi flavour really did overpower it. Really hardly tasted the basil at all, but I'm hoping with the chili one that'll be a bit of a hit. So you can kind of see what the cheese looks like a little bit there. So this is chili halloumi from the Riverina Dairy. And last but not least, this one's made in Shoalhaven, which is just south of Sydney. It's a washed rind cheese. So it doesn't say what dairy. Once again, it's been rebadged by our local supermarket here. So it's made with pasteurised milk. It's got cream and then just normal starter cultures. So washed rind, but does smell, once you taste, it's double wrapped, so you really can't smell it in its current state. But if it's as stinky as my normal washed rind cheeses, it'll be a hit. It's very hard to get your hands on washed rind cheeses, especially in the supermarket, so I'm very surprised that our local supermarket, Coles, actually did that. So there you go, so there's a washed rind cheese. So I'll be trying these commercially ones to see if I can kind of make adaptations of them. That's what I do. And that's the reason that I buy those commercial cheeses. Not because I can't make them myself, but it's because I want to try and make them in that style. So I've got to taste them. You've got to do that anyway. Anyway, thanks very much for checking out what is in my kitchen fridge, or what cheese is in my kitchen fridge. As you can tell there, there's a rather large mountain of cheese. And a few commercial cheeses that I like to try and replicate. Anyway, thanks for watching, Curd Nerds. As always, it's great to have your time and watching the videos along. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. And if you liked it, give a thumbs up. If you didn't, you know what else to do. This channel is supported by patrons and members, so patrons on patreon.com and members on YouTube memberships. So if you're interested, pop over, get some nice little perks depending on the financial tier that you select. I wish you all a Merry Christmas. It's filmed in Christmas 2018, so Merry Christmas and happy holidays and festive season wherever you may be. Thank you once again for watching the channel in 2018, and we're going to be doing some bigger and better things in 2019. All right, thanks for watching, Curd Nerds, and I'll see you next time.